Martinelli, brilliant feet, and he smuggled it in! Here's Gabriel Jesus! Left in them. Jota. Salah! Van Dijk close to it. Down goes Jota. And at the Anfield end, he's put it wide! Alexander-Arnold!
Aaron, you're under massive pressure at the end there. Does that feel like a point saved or 2 points dropped?
Bit of both. We managed to dig in at the end, but we had some good chances and we come to Anfield and played really well, but had to survive as well. So I think right now it'll be mixed emotions, but I think over the next few days it'll definitely be a very good point.
Even in the context of the title, does it not feel like 2 points dropped? You led for over an hour.
Yeah, maybe, but I've just walked off the pitch and we've just been under pressure for 30, 32 minutes, 35 minutes, whatever it was, and we've managed to get a point away at Anfield, and they're a top side, crowd get right behind them, so it might be 2 points dropped, but we could have dropped all of them as well at the same time.
It was relentless, the pressure, but you two made several magnificent saves, particularly the one from Salah, which got...
Playing today, there's no better games to be playing in than these, which means so much for both teams, and unfortunately we couldn't get the 3 points, but at least my saves have helped us out.
How much did you feel as well that your side acquitted themselves mentally? Because you knew about the record before you came here today. Yeah,
I thought we were excellent. I don't think we showed anything about sort of previous games against them. I think the last time we came here in the Carabao Cup we drew 0-0. So we have had some sort of performances here, but yeah, I think for 50 minutes, 60 minutes, I thought we were very good, and then I thought we defended really well, but got unlocked by 2 goals.
Ultimately, will only time tell what this point means today?
Absolutely. Now we've got to just go back in and work hard every day and build again. But 1 point is a lot better than none, and it's another point on the board, and we'll see where we go from there.
And is it hugely important as well that mentally you see the positivity in the point rather than the 2 points gone?
Absolutely, and that's what the manager will be saying. The manager's hugely positive, and we'll come here, we'll digest it over the next few days, and we'll definitely be showing all the good stuff which we did in the first half to get 2-0 up.
Well, you played your part. You were the player of the match, Aaron. Well played today.
Cheers, Jeff. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, pal.
How good was he, Tony?
Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. The saves that he made was incredible, especially the one in the top right-hand corner. Phenomenal.
The one-on-one as well with Nunes.
Brilliant, yeah. It's phenomenal. Absolutely. He's got us a point today.
You think it's a point gained?
I think it's a point gained today. Liverpool upped their game in the last 30 minutes, and not many teams in the world can actually sustain that amount of pressure in the Anfield roar behind you. That was hard going, but the goalkeeper was brilliant for us today.
Do you think it's a point gained?
Yeah. I think now looking at the overall performance, I was amazed in the second half when Liverpool was so dominant why they didn't go to a 5 earlier or even a normal back 4. Zinchenko and Gabriel arguing with each other, who's picking up Salah, crossing over, they were all over the place. And that's something they'll have to learn from, because they've got City away and Newcastle away coming up, and that confusion between those two could cost them later in the season against the better opposition. But they got away with it today, second half. There were good signs first half and some good counters second. But that defensive confusion in the second half was a worry for Arsenal.
Well, the atmosphere sounded sensational at Anfield. Let's go to our man at the ground, former Premier League winner and Arsenal invincible, Ray Parlour. Tell us, first of all, what that was like to watch inside the stadium, Ray.
Well, certainly from my point of view, it was very nerve-wracking, especially in that second half. I mean, you expected a little bit of a run from Liverpool. That goal in the first half was so important for Liverpool to get them back into the game, and the roar in the second half was amazing. It really was. When that second goal went in, I thought, that's it, we're going to lose the game now. But fair play, as Tony says there, Ramsdale was superb, absolutely brilliant today. And you always need a good goalkeeper if you've got any chance of winning the league. Tony will tell you that with some of the goalkeepers he played with. So, nerve-wracking, but I think it was probably a fair result in the end. Point gained, it's another point on the board. It's always going to be a tricky game. The record is not great here for Arsenal, so a point gained, I should imagine, but they still will be disappointed because they were leading 2-0, and I think Mikel Arteta will be more disappointed with the first goal. If you go in at 2-0, I think the game is a lot more difficult for Liverpool in that second half.
First things first, Ray, have you got your club blazer on underneath that coat?
I've got a blazer on, Tone. That's for when I go out later. But, you know, it's, I don't think I'll be going out in Liverpool later.
Hey, talk me through Martinelli today.
Yeah, I mean, he was different class. I thought that was always going to be where they could get a little bit of joy down that left. We know Trent is brilliant going forward. What he done for the goal, the equaliser was superb, going around Zinchenko. But he's a bit vulnerable defensively. He does get caught out of position, and I thought Martinelli took advantage of that. They got a little bit luck on the first goal, Tone. It was, you know, they got a few ricochets, and Van Dijk didn't really clear his lines, and he got a little toe poke on it. But the second goal was brilliant. Absolutely picked him out, Jesus. Great header. So Martinelli's a live wire. We all know that. He can run at players. And when you've got a fullback who wants to go forward more than defend, I think he sometimes has a field day.
Ray, stay there. We'll be back to you plenty of times in the next 45 minutes or so. Do you think, as Aaron Ramsdale was saying there, Danny, in the cold light of day, they probably think we were 2-0 up at Anfield, but actually the way the second half went, who knows in time how important that point could be?
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to try and take the positives from it. They'll probably do a post-match meeting where they'll have a look at the pros and the cons. And the key is, when you have a performance like that, from being 2-0 up and losing a lead, is how did you lose it and can we improve on that next time? You know, if they were to go to City and score first, what can they do differently? Can you manage the game better second half? Can you do something? Can you play longer earlier? Can you tweak the foot? Whatever it is, you're learning from that, because there were some positives from the game, but the second half was where I think Arteta will look at it and the players and think maybe we could have managed it better. I mean, that's not to take away from Liverpool, as Tony did allude to. They were much better with their quality and their intensity, but I think Arsenal helped them. I do. I think they'll look back over in a cold light of day. They'll look back and they'll hopefully, I think, for Arsenal's point of view, learn something.
I think, sorry, but I think I completely agree with you. I think he should have changed it earlier, to be honest with you.
OK, well, Liverpool, of course, got that equaliser courtesy of another Trent Alexander-Arnold assist. He's waiting to talk to us live at Anfield now. Thanks for speaking to us, Trent. First of all, it was a magnificent game to watch. What on earth was that like to play in?
That was very, very intense for us players out there. But they're the type of games you want to play in, you know. It's we're playing against probably one of the top of the league, probably the best team in the league this season. So it was always going to be a very, very good game and intense, and that's what we got today.
What was your mindset at 2-0 down, Trent?
Just disappointed, obviously. We started the game so slow and just never really got going, and we got punished, and as you do against the top teams. But we dug deep. I think the last 5 or 10 minutes in the first half, the intensity was there. You know, the crowd got behind us, and we fed off that. So we got going, and then came out second half and controlled and dominated the game. To be honest, it was a very good performance in that second half from us.
Trent, it's done a great second half performance. What was the new position like for you? It felt, tucking into that midfield. Was that something new that you haven't done before, or was that just by design rather than worked on before?
No, it was something we worked on a little bit yesterday, and it's a new role. I think you're seeing a couple of teams using it. City used it against us, and Arsenal used it today. So that's probably where the game's going in terms of a full-back coming in and playing in midfield. And it's just about getting used to it. It's a completely different game from full-back. I'm used to playing with the touchline behind me, so I don't have to check my shoulders, whereas it's the jungle in the middle of the park, so I need to get used to that. But I enjoyed it. I think we had good moments, stuff to work on, and it's something that we can probably work on going forward. Yeah.
Trent, Martinelli's obviously one of our top players, and the kid's on fire at the moment. What's the trigger between you and the central defender about when you do pop into the midfield, when you got to get back? Because he looked at times the defender, your right side centre half, wasn't getting over there. What have you got a trigger that in possession you jump in? Do you?
Yeah, so I think in possession I go in as a double six in there, and then it depends where and when we lose the ball. If we lose it up in that attacking third on the left hand side, then I have the time to drop back in and get myself back into position. Whereas if we lose it in the middle of the pitch and I don't have the time to get out there and get switched, then Ibu would go over there as he's the closest man. So it's kind of just closest man gets there. and then we need to adjust to that. But we need to iron out those little creases that was in it. It's the first time we tried it. I think there was good things, there was stuff to work on, but
very honest.
Yeah, it was exciting for me. Yeah.
Just finally, Trent, let's talk about the other end of the pitch. Bobby Firmino loves this fixture, 9 in 9 against Arsenal. But what about your role in the lead up to the goal?
Yeah, I think I underlapped Hendo slid me in, and it was here we go.
And the Megs.
Yeah,
the Megs.
And then, it was just a decision whether to fire it across the front or just loft it in. And it was, I thought I was a little bit too close to fire it across. Didn't see any red when I looked up, so just kind of clip one into the back stick, knowing that the likes of Bobby, Darwin, Cody should be round the back stick. The big lads in our team, all on the left side. So. It was a good goal, and a goal that we needed, really. And
definitely noise at that point as well. Well played today. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for putting the one over the bar in the 90th minute as well. That was brilliant. Thank you for that.
Thank you, guys.
Trent Alexander-Arnold live at Anfield. 2-2. Arsenal threatened as well, didn't they?
Yeah, their chances on the counter-attack, and...
Still shot the header, didn't they, at the set play?
Exactly. You get chances. You dig. If you hold out there, that's why I think Arteta should have gone back mainly defensive. We were looking at each other in the 60th, 70th meeting saying, when are you going to hold on to this? When is the time to hold on to this? So, yeah.
Well, before he did that assist, just literally at the other end of Gabriel had that chance, didn't he, at 2-1.
My God, there was so much activity.
But these are fine margins, aren't they?
Centre half, there you go, unmarked. Goalkeeper. The game was so end-to-end at the time. I think the goalkeeper threw it onto the left wing just straight after this, and Liverpool had a chance down the other end. But there's a centre half and another chance for the Arsenal to go and win the game.
I think it was credit in some ways that both teams wanted to win it so much. Sometimes you win it by going gung-ho and going Liverpool, that's because they were coming from behind, but Arsenal could have been a bit cuter and a bit cleverer because they had the lead, and you can win it by playing counter-attack sometimes. But they're the things we talked about learning before. I just going back to Trent, I thought it was interesting because we were talking before the game. That's the first time, that's why I asked him. I thought it was deliberate, but that going in there like Cancelo started it, didn't he? Stones has done recently, Zinchenko does it. That might suit him better as long as the centre-half, who's got the athletic capability, Canate, to cover him, knows how to play that role. It's going to take time. You don't just click into it and it works overnight. But it might just free him up from some of that defensive responsibility. He was talking about it positively.
Yeah. And we've seen his version, but let's have a look at the equalising goal, because he did really well there, Trent, didn't he, for the assist?
This part of Trent's game... he's never been in question. He's a super passer of the ball. He's a great crosser. I mean, his distribution for right backs up there with the best in the world. I mean, these type of things. As soon as he gets in these positions, he rarely lets you down. He makes the right choice, and that's why he plays more often than not. That's why Klopp persists, because he's a game changer going the other way. It's just about making sure he does his work in the defensive part of the pitch, a little natural ability. That's why he loves playing. He loves creating, he loves making, and Firmino was a clever substitution. He knows he scored all those goals. It's his last home game at Anfield against Arsenal. Sod's law he was going to score. He kind of felt it as soon as he come on.
Especially with his record against them as well.
Yeah.
And at 2-2, you were a little bit nervous and out of your seat at times as well, because as you rightly say, you could have lost it.
They weren't the same colour as his suit.
Nervous for I was on the edge of his seat, Look at that. Oh, and there was Tini had a little. If Salah didn't actually make a connection, there's a penalty. There's number 2 penalty there for you. You got to get your hands down, Tini, or getting yourself in a better position.
Then it became the Ramsdale show. That
is the save for me. It's got a little bit of a deflection as well. It's put it actually into the top corner, but he's got his right arm up there, and it's unusual that, because Dave Seaman used to go across with his left.
Yeah, did. I found it. This is another unbelievable save.
Could he have just headed it in?
I'm not sure. When I saw it on the other angle, I think that's all he could do to try and get it over the line. You're never going to think, pardon me, the keeper's going to get there. And then Arsenal were away on the breakaway.
Look at this.
This is a poor ball, actually, from Martinelli, because he's in.
But goalkeeper's done brilliant.
He has.
He's the best in the business at that, by the way, isn't he?
One off.
Sweeping.
Here we go.
Brilliant at it. Absolutely brilliant.
How does he keep that out?
Incredible save.
I know we talked about the...
They're asking for a penalty there as well?
Yeah, but I don't think it is. I mean, that is...
The referee needs to go and lie down, I think, you know what I mean? He's going to have a rest.
He's not the only one. I know we talked about the confusion with Gabriel and Zinchenko, but I actually thought Salah's second half was magical.
Very good.
His touch, his strength, his desire to keep going at people, because they get scared of him. They drop off him because he's so quick and sharp. And he wanted the ball, kept demanding the ball, and all Liverpool's good. He was so involved. Really good second.
But you didn't have a left back against him like Tommy at Emirates. He got down his throat, stopped him playing.
Didn't have that today. That's why I've got a squad, Tony. That's why I've got a squad.
Maybe Tini should have got on earlier.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah.
Now, the big question is, where does this leave the title race? We've explained the gap is 6 points. We've explained that City have got a game in hand. And, of course, Arsenal have to go to the Etihad. So, here we go for Arsenal. They're away at West Ham next. Then at home to the bottom club, Southampton. Then they go to the Etihad. Then it's Chelsea, Newcastle away, Brighton at home, Forest away, and the last day of the season, Wolves at home. City, of course, as we know, still in two other competitions. Those two massive games against Pep Guardiola's former club, Bayern Munich, home and away, sandwiched in between a home game against second from bottom Leicester. Then an FA Cup semi-final against Sheffield United, the Championship at Wembley. Then the trip to the Etihad. So City have to play 4 times before they face Arsenal at the Etihad. Then City go to Fulham. They have to play West Ham as well. Leeds at home, Everton away, Chelsea at home, Brentford away. Brighton away is still to be rearranged as well. And I should also point out the weeks beginning the 9th and 16th of May, should they beat Bayern Munich, they will have Champions League semi-finals to squeeze in as well.
That could be key. I really believe that. The amount of games...
They could have almost twice as many games.
Yeah, that's key, how they get on against Bayern. I think that could be really, really crucial. Arsenal just got to keep going, keep doing what they're doing.
They've got a big squad, haven't they? They can handle that amount of games. If it was the other way round, I'd say it's Arsenal's for the taking, to be honest with you.
So from Arsenal's point of view, you want City in the Champions League
Completely.
and the FA Cup final?
Absolutely. Let them win it all apart from the Premier League, the big one.
Let's go back to Ray. Ray, you having a look at those fixtures with confidence, or...?
Well, yeah, they're going to be difficult. I mean, we look at Newcastle away. It was always going to be a difficult game. I was at Brentford yesterday. Great second-half performance from Newcastle. They're going for that fourth Champions League spot, so that's going to be a difficult one. Obviously, we know about Manchester City. That's always going to be a difficult game. It's the most important game now for Arsenal is West Ham away next week, because it's always one game. And I know it's an old cliche, but you just got to worry about the next game and don't worry about what's going on. Just try and get 3 points on at the London Stadium next Sunday. So that's a crucial game now. And obviously, you've got the Southampton game on the Friday night as well. So 6 points in the next 2 games, and just hope. And I think Danny's right. I mean, Champions League football is very important for Manchester City. So these 2 games against Bayern are massive for the club. That's the one Pep Guardiola wants, the Champions League, and I'm hoping, like Tony says, they get to the final and win it, and hopefully don't be too greedy and let Arsenal win the Premier League.
Tony's told us his first experience. You're saying take one game at a time, but before your first title, when you get to April, it's the natural thing, isn't it, to pick up the fixtures and think, surely as a player, it's hard to concentrate on just West Ham next.
Well, yeah, my first title was in 97, 98, and I remember we had a big game of Blackburn away, and Blackburn were a difficult side at Ewood Park. But, that was the game where we went there and we managed to get a 4-1 win. So there's certain games when you look at away, which could be a banana skin, and I'm sure Manchester United were looking at that Blackburn game as well to say, this could be the time when they do drop points and leaves the door open for us. So I'm sure Mikel Arteta will target certain games, but I'm looking at the running. There's a lot of teams in the relegation battle for both sides who they're going to play against, who fighting for their lives. So it'd be interesting to see how they get on. But as I said before, it's another point towards that title, and whatever happens, I know they probably ain't going to get a better chance to win the league. But what a great season they've had. I mean, the connection with the fans as well. The atmosphere was so good here today. The Arsenal fans really got behind their team as well, and it's been a fantastic season so far. But Liverpool are going to be better next year. Chelsea could be better next year. All those sides are going to be better. So you might not get a better chance to win it this year if you're an Arsenal player.
And you say that point in time may be important. Who knows? We've seen in the past big moments, Could that Ramsdale save from Konate be one of those moments to take something from today?
Absolutely. I thought he was magnificent in that second half. And like Tony, I thought he might have headed it, maybe. He's gone down, but I'm not going to question it. It's split second. You've got to make that big decision. I know he's a defender. Maybe it was a striker, would have just headed it in, no problem. But that was a massive save, it really was. And like Tony says, that little bit right at the end, that deflection was going in that top corner, and Ramsdale managed to get himself across. And he's done that on many occasions this season. He's been brilliant for Arsenal in goal. And as I said before, you've always got to have a good goalkeeper if you're going to have any chance of winning the title. And certainly Aaron's proving that he is a top-class goalkeeper.
Ray, thank you very much indeed. Ray Parlour,
Cheers,
the Arsenal
guys.
Invincible
Thanks,
at
Ray.
Anfield after that incredible 2-2 draw. We've also brought you Trent Alexander-Arnold live. We're still to speak to both managers. We will put that right. Arsenal arrived at Anfield after 7 consecutive wins in the Premier League. They were 2-0 up against Liverpool. Of course, it did finish 2-2. So it is a point. Let's see what Mikel Arteta thinks about it.
Mikel, what did you make of that?
Wow, a very intense game. I think we started brilliantly. We controlled the game. We took the game where we wanted to score the first goal. Managed to continue play the way we wanted, score the second one, a beautiful action, and the game was under control. And after that, before just half time, we conceded a really sloppy goal. And then the game shifted momentum, and we have to reset at half time. I think we started well the first few minutes, but then we lost control. We lost far too many simple balls. We didn't finish any actions, and then became a very transitional game with a lot of open spaces, which they love, and very chaotic. And there, Liverpool could have scored 3 or 4. They missed a penalty. Aaron made a couple of great saves. And it's true that we have 3 or 4 big breakups that we could have scored as well, 2 or 3. We didn't, so maybe at the end the result is fair.
Do you feel at all, though, that when you were 2-0 up and cruising, the momentum changed when the crowd got up, and that was the result of Granit Xhaka getting involved with Trent Alexander-Arnold? Was that foolish?
40 minutes, the way the team played, and that we are capable to come to grounds like this and do what we've done. But after we have to continue to, regardless the crowd, regardless the results, and we're going to go and look for the third and the fourth.
Is that difficult, though? Because when the crowd are up, and particularly at 2-2, all of a sudden, you know you're going for the title, but at the same time, they are still a threat.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anybody do it in this ground this season. Nobody. They beat every big team here. They play Real Madrid, could have been 4 after 20 minutes. So it's extremely difficult. You need to understand where you are against the team that you are playing. It's not a casualty where they've done in the last 6 years. And they're going to have moments, and we have to deal with those moments. We did. Our goalkeeper played a big part on that, and we don't want to rely on that for sure.
Big part, is that an understatement?
Sorry?
You say Aaron Ramsdale played a big part. Is that an understatement?
No, that's the reality. But a lot of players play a big part because they score some great goals, and we could have scored another 3 easily.
When you assess what have you come out of this game from today, is it realistic to say it was a really good point given the amount of chances they had in the game and a missed penalty, but in the context of the title, it is 2 points dropped? Can you almost separate the two?
You can't. I think you have to assess the performance throughout the 90 minutes and in the context of you play at Anfield against this team. And we could have taken the 3 points. If we should have done that for another 10-15 minutes, I think the game would have taken a very different trajectory. We didn't, and I think we have to take the point because it's what we got.
What does this do to the title race, as you see it?
Move on, convince them to keep playing like we did the first 35 minutes, and with that we're going to win a lot of games.
How much was that your message to the players in the dressing room just now?
Exactly the same. That the lesson is not on the second half and the resilience, that we don't want to rely on that. We want to rely on what we did in the first half.
Thanks, Mikel.
Thank you very much.
Interesting. Danny, has he got a point there where he says people have to understand where you are and who you're against? Because actually, Scholes was sat in that very chair after the 7-0, and he said, what fans don't realise is what Anfield can do to you as a visiting player. It swallows you up, which I thought was a fascinating insight, really.
I've seen really big players capitulate at Anfield in the past in games because on a certain emotional evening or a night, European nights, whatever, it can happen to good players, high quality. And I think he's right in that you have to give Liverpool respect. They've lost 1 league game at home this season. And I did talk to you earlier about, I was at the Madrid game. For half an hour, this is a team who've won more Champions League in the last decade than anybody. Half an hour in, Liverpool battered them. Should have been 4-0. And Madrid done brilliantly to come back in the game, manage the game second half. But, yeah, I think even though that's correct, I still think there has to be an acknowledgement that their game management second half could have been better. You should always be aspiring to improve and do more. And he's manager of a really talented group of players who I think, irrelevant of Liverpool's real dominance second half and good quality play, could have managed that game better. I thought they made some silly, naive choices at times. I thought they played into Liverpool's hands, continually trying to play out, and I don't think they changed it quickly enough in terms of going, we don't need the ball, we don't have to look good, we're winning. We didn't stem the tide because it was coming and coming and coming. So I do think, although he's correct, there is also some self-analysis needed from their point of view to improve.
I think it's been a little bit critical there, to be honest with you. It takes an experienced manager, which is not, to actually make that decision and actually change it at the right moment of time, you know, in that atmosphere with that game, you know, everything that was going on. And it can I agree with Scholesy, you know, my first 10 appearance at Anfield, I think all I did was get Kenny Dalglish. That's all I did, and we lost 4-0 every time, you know what I mean? Because we wasn't a team, and we didn't play together, and we didn't have the talent, and we didn't play the right system, and we felt intimidated, and they had us beat before we even went out there. But then when I became part of some good teams, and we went there and we put a good, solid base out there, and we got some results because we were better than them, we controlled the game, and that's all he's working towards. These guys have done brilliantly. You know, they come 6th or 7th last season. You know, he's thrown them together. There's got good stability there. They've got a fantastic goalkeeper now. They're going to learn from that experience and go on and on and on. But I agree with Ray Parlour, to be honest with you. It's not often that I do. But, but he was, you know, talking about, actually, through the season, you're not going to get a better chance than this, Arsenal. You know, every other club's going to get better next season, and Liverpool's going to come again. So this is the chance to do it, and they need to get over the line. It's going to be very difficult.
Do you know what? I'm not sure with that. No? People keep saying, this is the chance, this is the chance. I understand the mentality. What I'm seeing at Arsenal is this group of young emerging players who have got a nice balance, good squad that's growing in depth.
They're only going to get better.
Yeah. I don't see Arsenal not being, you know, dropping out the top 4 next season, not challenging. They're not going to fall off a cliff this side.
They will get into the Champions League. They need to go again. That's what I mean. With the right recruitment, then they've got a chance. But otherwise, you become a Liverpool again. You know, you've got success. You're a nearly club. You've nearly done it. And then you've got other players now. You've got another squad that's playing Champions League game week in, week out. Not got the experience. You drop down the league. You ain't got a chance. That's why I say they haven't got a chance. This is the time to do it for them. They've got nothing else in the way. I saw Man City's millions of games they've got left, and I saw Arsenal, and they're getting late-minute goals. Everyone's scoring, everyone's contributing. Ben White's getting goals. You know, this is the time to do it. You know, we need to get over the line.
Let's remind ourselves of the control that Mikel Arteta's talking about with that fast start and those 2 early goals as well that blew Liverpool away at the time, Danny.
Yeah, we analysed these, didn't we? Liverpool going after the ball, not tracking runners. Arsenal full of energy, full of creativity, nice penetrative runs, right behind the back of Liverpool's high line again, like they did in the opening game, the earlier game at Arsenal this season. And when Martinelli gets in there, he does brilliantly well just to nick that ahead of Robertson and the goalkeeper. Started the game so sharp, didn't he, Tom?
Yeah, super. The lad was on fire from the first minute, wasn't he? Absolutely. And Trent, I get it now because we've spoken to Trent, but there was some disjointedness, should we say, in that position and that role that he was asked to do today. But, you know, Jesus is just pulled away from this. You know, if I'm a central defender here, it's really bad play. You know, you've got Van Dijk here. That's your job. Jesus is your job, not the crosser. You ain't got Martinelli. You can do nothing about Martinelli. You've got to get yourself in the position between that ball and that player to stop him heading it in the goal. That's your job, Van Dijk. You didn't do it. Simple as that. Sorry, was that a bit strong?
No, not at all.
That's the job.
I think the only thing you could argue, maybe Robertson could see it and shout him early, whatever, but it's his job. Where is he?
Yeah. Ball and player.
And the way the game turned out, the Salah goal just before half-time was hugely pivotal.
To be honest, it was. But I still felt that sooner Liverpool would come out second half like a wounded animal. But this was a great bit of play. They had a bit of joy first half down the left-hand side and a couple of overloads. Saka switched off.
Lovely play.
Just as you see this goal go in, you'll see Saka put his head on his hands, and that's because he didn't track back there and there was an overload again. Salah's always a threat, isn't he? Doesn't matter. This is the Arsenal, what we were talking about, the left back and centre half swapping over positions constantly all afternoon. And he just switches off. He doesn't know he's there on his right shoulder.
We're going to have to come up with a name of this kind of rotation thing that they're doing, because Man City's doing it. Golden central defender. We have to give it a name somewhere.
My two best managers from a defensive point of view. We'll come back to that in a second. Just.
Was this a penalty, chaps?
I think he'd do.
It's clumsy. It's clumsy. Rob's running the back of him.
I understand why the refs give it, but I think he's.
As a penalty taker, what about?
Well, I don't like the run. He starts central and then he changes his angle. So the angle can change by a few degrees depending on what day it is. Because it's not always coming up to the ball at the same angle. Therefore, it's harder to know what... I used to... When I took penalties, I would line myself up with the post on the right-hand side. Give myself an angle, but always the same angle. So I felt comfortable where the ball was coming off my foot to go in either corner. He, by changing his run-up, from a straight position to then an angled position, is changing the picture all the time. And if he does that 2 weeks continually, if you like, the next week he might run up to the ball at a different angle. So you're talking centimetres, inches, millimetres even when you connect with the ball. But I think that's a silly way to run up to a penalty. There's no need to do it.
His success rate is pretty good though, isn't it?
It's not great.
Is it not?
No.
Mo Salah's now missed 5 out of 29. You're sitting next to a gentleman who never, ever missed a Liverpool penalty.
I got 2 out of 2 as well, mate. And I never run up like that. I hit it. If I don't know where it's going, the goalkeeper hard, on the ball, try to kick the ball.
That's it.
See what happens.
I like that.
2 out of 2.
Finish your point that you were going to make in there before. Sorry, we looked at the penalty. About the midfield.
I've completely forgotten
what Tony was saying about the inverted fullback, basically.
No, go on.
No?
Been a long day. Huh?
You're too.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the two... I think when you... when I played under Houllier and Roy Hodgson, we did so much work on defensive stuff that gave us the success we had. And I never, ever... And Rafa, actually, in my brief time with Rafa at Liverpool, and you probably did the same, if your fullback and your centre-half were ever in the wrong... as in swap positions, you were wrong. Something's wrong. That shouldn't be happening, no matter what. However the variable formation is, whatever's gone on in the play, if we were doing a training session on defensive work and that happened, it would be stopped. That is wrong. And I think that's a great philosophy as a back four to work from. As soon as your left back or right back is in a centre-half position and your centre-half is in a full-back position, something's wrong. Something's going wrong. And then they've got you all over the place. And a bit similar, they used to say, they all did the same philosophy as well. Central midfielders, if you're in a centre-back position and the centre-back's ahead of you in a centre-midfield position, something's not right.
Yeah, if you get in that situation, you've got to change it back as quickly as you possibly can. You know, if Nigel Winterburn or Ashley
Maybe
Cole,
once in a game now.
He's strayed across and he's got inside. Oh, it's good. I'm in here, because that's a vital place, although Van Dijk didn't do it. It's a vital place where you're going to have to head the ball and defend the cross.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fascinating insight. Talking of changing quickly, Liverpool certainly did that to the scoreline. Could have even got better. Let's see what Jurgen Klopp thinks of it all.
Jurgen, it was an extraordinary spectacle. What did you make of it and the way that the game unfolded?
Yeah, somehow a little bit typical for us this season, and I would say for Arsenal as well, that they have an open game, completely open, and they score with the first situation, and then not too long after they score a second one. Then that's like our problems were big enough, but we made them even bigger. But then the reaction was obviously good. You are right, it was a spectacular game in the end. How we cannot win it, I don't know. In the end, with the chances we had, but in the end, it's a point and a good reaction on the 2 goals we conceded, and that's positive. But I'm caught in between, to be honest. It's like so I have no problem with drawing, and I think for Arsenal it's a super important point, because if you draw these kind of games, you have a good chance to become champion. That's how it is. You cannot always be super convincing. They were good, but I think they would agree they could or should have lost this game today, but they didn't, and so the point probably is for them better than for us, but it's one for us as well.
For you, what changed? What changed the balance from when they were 2-0 up?
Yeah, look, that's... we had before moments. We had before chances, situations where we came through, where we just didn't finish the situations off. Again, slightly typical, because you would say they are flying, so they score with the first. It was like, don't even know now if it's an own goal or Martinelli touched the last moment or whatever. But it's first we slide or slip on the side, and then they get inside and twice rebound. Blah blah blah. The goal we scored obviously helped massively. So we were in half-time and know, okay, this game is not over. Maybe it didn't even really start. So for us, at least, we can now really put an extra shift in. It's what we did. Anfield was there. It was a sensational atmosphere. Then we missed a penalty in a good moment to get the equaliser. Much more time than after our actual equaliser. And even now that we had chances. So it was, I think it was a moment where we could say, if we say hypothetical, but good chance to turn the game. But that's football, it's life, that can happen. And so we just kept going, and we were much higher in the last line, which is super important. I know people would say, but the ball's in behind, yes. But we only can put pressure on the guy on the ball when we are generally more compact, means when we are closer to the situation. If the first line is not there because the last line is too deep and the midfield is too deep, then they chip the balls anyway there because we cannot wait at our own box. So in the moment when we did that better, when the ball's in behind our fullbacks, which we knew that it will happen, but that had to be sorted by Ibu and Virgil in these moments, and more we did that, and all of a sudden we were in charge in a wild game. We were not always in charge, but we had much more moments then, put them massively under pressure, and in the end we deserved at least the point.
How much was the fact that you didn't take all 3 points down to Aaron Ramsdale? He was named player of the match.
Yeah, okay, that one save, I think especially from Mo, that was exceptional. I think if Ibu uses his head, then the ball goes under the crossbar, so then it's a goal. Like, he cannot be there, but the way maybe Ibu slipped, I have to watch it again. But he had the chance, was just there. So, but yes, he was exceptional.
Today was almost a thumbnail sketch. You saw some of the things you've not been so well this season, and you also saw some of the very best of your side today.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's again, I said last week after the Chelsea game, it was a step in the right direction. It's the next step, definitely. So, but now we have a lot of time to prepare the Leeds game, and that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do, and we'll put all the effort and all the passion already in the training sessions, and we make sure we are ready.
Lastly, a highly unusual incident. The PGMO have said that they are going to be reviewing the footage. Andy Robertson claimed that he was struck by the linesman at half-time. What do you know about it, and what can you tell us?
Nothing. I know that obviously happened, but I didn't watch it because in these situations, if it happened, then if Robbo says it, then it happened. But then the pictures speak probably for themselves. So I have nothing else to say about it.
Thanks, Jürgen.
You're welcome.
And this is the statement that PGMOL have released after that incident, aware of the incident involving assistant referee Konstantin Hatzidakis and Liverpool defender Andrew Robertson at half-time during the Liverpool-Arsenal fixture at Anfield. We will review the matter in full once the game has concluded. Let's remind you those pictures that Jurgen Klopp was talking about in terms of the incident. This is what, Danny, they will be reviewing.
Yeah, well, I said earlier, didn't I? There's obviously a walk towards the referee's assistant from Robertson, which we don't like to see in terms of the intention towards him. But there's no need for the assistant referee to lift his arm towards. I think it's probably an accidental catch. He's lifted his arm to just nudge him away here, there. He's caught him in the chin as he's lifted his arm to get him to go away. I wouldn't go as far to say, I don't think anybody should be accusing him of saying he deliberately struck him in the face. I don't think that's the case. I think he's put his arm up to get him to go away, and the momentum's carried it and caught him on the chin. So we've got to try and keep things in perspective. We want to blow these things up and look to apportion blame. And I'd say this either way. We don't want to see anyone being struck in the face. Of course we don't. I don't think he's intentionally stuck an arm in his face there. I think he's trying to usher him away, and his momentum's caught him. But it's still an unsavoury event and needs dealing with.
It's such a magnificent game. It's a shame to have to show those incidences. And I think Andy was in his face, and it was a reaction. And I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt. But if you turn it round, you ain't seeing many players do that to a linesman. You know what I mean? So it's like, actually, you should never raise your arm like that. But I can understand him trying to keep it away.
Yeah, I said before, and the only thing I can think of, and this would be the same if it was a player or an official, vice versa situation, is that maybe he was preempting. That's the only other thing I could think, preempting something, but in scare, like because someone's walking towards you, like you might in the street. But I think it was more a get off, get away from me, and the momentum followed through, caught him on the chin.
Former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher. Unusual, unsavoury. What do you make of it?
Certainly unusual, Steve. I think both Tony and Danny talk a lot of sense. They've made some very, very good points there. And as we saw the statement, the PGMO will review it. They'll decide after speaking to Colin himself and to Andy Robertson. Probably, I see the FA have already said that they will try and speak to both parties tonight or tomorrow morning, and we'll see what unfolds. What do you expect to unfold in terms of action? I don't know really, Steve, and I really mean that because, Danny talked about, has he preempted something? Has he almost like, get off me, I don't want you to get near me. It's a matter of asking Con, what he felt at the time, how he felt at the time, what his reaction was. It's a matter of talking to Andy Robertson, just drilling down really into what really happened, what provoked it, why it happened, and taking it from there really, but not prejudging it. Absolutely, well said. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. Let's finish by talking about that magnificent game, and also, are you still super confident of the title?
That's a great point. It's a great point. I said it at the beginning of the show. It's a great point.
He did.
Listen, I went to Old Trafford, 7 games towards the end of the title, and we got a 1-1 draw, and we got over the line. We got over the line. It's such an important game. Man United, Old Trafford. I scored an own goal after about 10 minutes. Everyone was booing us. I managed to get one up the other end. 1-1. We walked in and went, yeah, that was a tough game. We've got a point. Let's go on to the other. Most important game. I looked at the 3 games that Newcastle away, Man City away, West Ham away. I think they're the 3, and especially the next one. After that game at Liverpool, Arsenal were going to be... I don't know how they're going to react on that. And West Ham away, it should be a 3-pointer, but I'm worried about that one. But those are the 3 away games that I look at that. I think everything else is a doable. Wolves away and Wolves at home and Forest. I think those are important games for me.
I think the only thing is, from Arsenal's point of view, is that they have passed the responsibility a little bit onto City, because City look at it now and go...
Is it a boost for City?
Yeah, because if they win every game, which is very difficult, especially with the Champions League, we've already talked about that, the amount of games, high pressure, high intensity, I get all that. So they might not win every game, but at least they can look at it now and go, if we win every game, the chances are they win the league. And that will give the group a spring in the step over at City, because you're responsible for your own destiny then.
It's a fever pitch end to the season, and it really is.
And City have got to play Brighton.
Because it'll change every single week.
Yeah. Well, we know what your answer is, but if I gave you a charity bet now for title winners, where's it going?
City, unfortunately.
My God, with 6 points clear of the table, what is going on?
Arsenal to win it. I just can't see City slipping up.
Really? Listen, it's been a hoot. It's been a fantastic day and a brilliant game. Thank you very much indeed, Danny, Tony, for your company. Sure you enjoyed that as well. Wherever you're watching, one of those moments to savour every second. And the title race is on. See you soon.